Liverpool overwhelming favourites to win at Anfield. You can get 4-1 on the draw. Arsenal at 13-2. Look at that, more than 6-1 to go and win at Anfield. And anytime we have a big game, especially for Craig, we have a combined 11. Stuart Robson producing the combined 11 between these two teams. And lo and behold, the 11 containing just 2 Arsenal players. Aubameyang makes it in up front. Herrera makes it in midfield. Stuart, that would suggest it's not looking too favourable for your old team heading into the big game.
No, they had a good little spell when they beat Tottenham and they were playing some dynamic football. They did very well against Liverpool not so long ago, 5 weeks or 6 weeks ago. But they've had injuries defensively. They didn't look particularly secure against Brighton. They lost creativity in that second half as well. Things aren't quite going their way at the moment, and this is a massive game for Arsenal. But I can't see with the defence they're going to be putting out how they're going to stop Liverpool winning the game.
And that is the worry, guys, isn't it? That beleaguered Arsenal defence. Holding, Bellerin, Monreal, so many big names missing.
Yeah, I don't know if Mustafi and Monreal are going to be back. There's reports that there's potential for that to happen, but they've still got a huge problem down the right-hand side with Lichtsteiner if he has to play there. Very experienced, but you know, if Sadio Mane plays on that side, he could run him into the ground. So they've got some big problems at the back. I think it's bigger picture for Arsenal here. I don't expect them to win at Anfield, but I don't think it's a disaster because, as I say, I think there is a much bigger picture for Unai Emery, and that is sorting this squad out, and that's getting through this season and doing as well as they can, obviously, and then going again in the summer transfer window because this is a rebuild, and it's not short-termism. It's not about, oh, we must get in the top 4 or else. It's the long project ahead of undoing the latter years of Arsene Wenger, basically. The one thing Arsenal did against Brighton, now they don't generally play the ball out from the back a lot, but now and again they will, is when the goalkeeper rolled it out to one of the centre-halves, is Lacazette dropped in the left and Aubameyang dropped in the right, and Ozil as a number 10 was supposed to go and put pressure on the 2 centre-halves, and then they worked from there. But he wasn't the only one, but he just sort of dawdled around the place. It was like half-hearted and, you know, no sign of closing down. So I'm not surprised he got the hook at half-time. And I said it before, you know, he's fast becoming a £300,000 a week headache for that club. Yeah. Not so much for the manager, because I think he's made his mind up.
And Stuart, to bring you in on this, what happens with that expensive headache? The Ozil story is not going away, is it? Reports again surfacing he's not at Anfield. There may be some injury issues. We're not sure as we tape this. But what's your take on Ozil at the moment?
Football is now won by the team that reacts quickest when the ball changes hands. And Ozil is the worst player at Arsenal for when the ball changes hand, he switches off, particularly when they lose it. And Unai Emery wants them to press the ball. He wants them to be dynamic when they lose possession. He can't play for Unai Emery unless, as Shaka said, it's against a team that sit off, aren't particularly good at the Emirates, and he can pick out his passes as he did against, I think it was Burnley. In other games, he's a passenger, and at some point, they have to sell him, whether it's in the January transfer window or it's at the end of the season. He's not an Unai Emery player. If they're going to back the manager, Ozil's got to go, as to Will Ramsey.
They're not exactly losing Lionel Messi, are they? You know what I mean? He's good a player as he is, and as talented he is, and he's won the World Cup with Germany. That's a completely different structure and a different type of football. You know, it's something that needs to happen. It's not something that Unai Emery will be saying, well, we could do. Offloading Mesut Ozil. They need to offload him. They need to go down a different direction. When Liverpool are away miles ahead of where Arsenal are, but when they sold Philippe Coutinho to Barcelona, there was a lot of people with their chins on the floor. Sure. But what Liverpool did with that 150 million or so is they went out and bought a very good goalkeeper and a very, very good centre-half. And I think for Arsenal, whilst they won't get that kind of money from Mesut Ozil, the one need to get him off the wage bill, and the two need to get some sort of transfer fee and go in a different direction.
The big question for Arsenal is who picks up that wage bill for Mesut Ozil? Even if you give him away, I'm not too sure how many pick up 300 grand a week. That being said, I love how Unai Emery is handling this situation. This is his decision. No player is bigger than the club, regardless of how much he makes. And he's not got drawn into this having to defend his decision around Mesut Ozil and how much he makes. I'm leaving him out for tactical reasons. That's the end of the story. And the team continues to move on. I think he's played this really well, the manager.
The fixture list headlined by Juventus and Sampdoria, two informed teams with a lot of interest elsewhere. Stuart, as you look across the Peninsula. What are you particularly looking for this weekend? A lot of coaches under pressure in Italy, it seems.
Yeah, there's three coaches that I think are under massive pressure. Di Francesco of Roma, they were expected to be a lot higher in the table, and they're playing against teams that they should really be beating. Milan, Gattuso's under a little bit of pressure there. They had a couple of decent results not so long ago and were climbing the table. They're now not performing as well as they should be doing, really. And Inter, despite their win against Napoli, and it was just a win, they were lucky to get the victory because Koulibaly was sent off for Napoli stupidly. Spalletti is another manager. They thought if he lost to Empoli, he would probably lose his job. So they're the three key games for those managers. But the other interesting game is Lazio versus Torino in terms of the position of the two teams. Lazio are doing quite well in fourth position. Torino have done much better than people expected under Mazzarri, and they're difficult to beat. So that will probably be the closest game, the one that most people will be looking at.
Of course, Juventus now 9 points clear.
Yeah.
They've got a big game against Sampdoria. And I think for the rest of them now, they're looking to see, can anybody stop this juggernaut? Because that's a big gap. And obviously Napoli's loss to Inter was a huge blow for them. You know, amidst all the controversy of Koulibaly and the sendings off. And you know, AC Milan just can't score a goal. No. They just cannot score. And if they were to lose at home to Spal, I would imagine, if it's not decision's not already been made on Gattuso, it certainly will after that.
Yeah, Stuart mentioned those three managers under pressure: Di Francesco, Gattuso, Spalletti. You'd think Gattuso, perhaps. Yeah. Against
Spal. Spal is exactly who you want to be playing when you're under pressure. Yeah. I just don't see Milan stumbling, not now, as I say, not at home against Spal. But I'm with Craig. I think all eyes top of the table. Sampdoria haven't lost a game since mid-November. Come into this one. Can you get the better of Juventus? Well, now we'll find out.
Is this the weekend when Milan end their scoreless drought? They haven't scored in 4 games since December the 2nd. Higuain hasn't scored in 8 games. The Serie A Awesome podcast is gabless this weekend. How about that? Just Paolo and Mina with the full weekend preview. You can catch that on ESPNFC.com.
Regardless of whether it was Cardiff and Huddersfield, you weren't quite sure what you're going to get out of United. And even when they won, it just seemed laboured. And it wasn't free-flowing. It wasn't a whole lot to write home about. Now, if after enduring the last 6 months of United that we've seen, to at least see these 2 performances, to give you some sense of optimism between now and the end of the season, you take that. Again, understandably, if you're a neutral, if you sit around the table to discuss football as we do, maybe that's gone a little bit too far. But if you're a fan, you've been calling for this for quite some time.
Stuart, you can only beat who's in front of you. They've got Bournemouth in front of them. How impressed have you been with these first 2 games under Solskjaer?
Well, they've played a lot better, but it's been more about the attitude, the positivity, the crowd getting behind them as well. Paul Pogba, as Craig said, should be running football games. He's one of the best midfield players in the world, as he was at the World Cup. And I played under 8 managers, and I think it was difficult for the players under Mourinho. If you know the manager is digging you out in the press quite often, if you know that he's being negative about your performance, or he doesn't really want you to play that well because he wants to back his own argument, it makes it difficult for players to perform at their very best. So I think now you're seeing a loving with some of the Manchester United players from Solskjaer and the crowd. That could change if they lose a game. That's when you'll see whether Manchester United are still a good side or whether they're going to struggle under Solskjaer as well.
So here we are with extra time, wading our way through the leftovers. We go. It's taking its toll, I got to tell you.
You must have some of
I know you.
It's really taking a toll.
You keep bringing it up. You keep bringing up them leftovers.
Turkey soup, turkey sandwiches.
I went in that gym today, and my God, it was not how it should have been, put it that way.
You were in the gym?
Yeah, that's what the gym said.
the gym almost...
like, what are you doing in here?
I love how you try. Yeah. You did not go to the gym today, did you?
I actually did.
I saw him in the gym today.
I have proof.
Oh, the gym here at work?
Yeah, I saw him.
Snuck in there.
Yeah.
Very quickly. It was a brief visit.
What was he dressed like?
A
gym person? A normal person?
Yeah, well... Yeah.
No, the headband around his head.
Stuart is with us, a man who's always in the gym. In fact, I don't think you even need to go to the gym to look svelte, do you, Mr. Robson? Just have that natural...
Oh, that's very nice of you to say.
I don't know if it's accurate, but...
I've been in the gym every morning over Christmas. Every morning over Christmas.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too, Stu, yeah.
Tia wants to know, Stuart, we'll start with you. What should Pep focus on? Crawling his way back into the title challenge or making the Champions League priority #1?
He's got to do both. You can't just prioritise one. He's got to try and win the Champions League because that's what Manchester City expect, but they also expect to win the title. And he's got a team good enough to do it. He's got to make sure that he gets that back four or back three, whatever he wants to play with, more solid and play with more consistency. He's got to get other players back fit and firing on all cylinders, like Aguero, like De Bruyne. And if he can do that, they've still got a chance of winning both.
When the Champions League rolls around, is that going to take over? Going to be priority #1?
No, I don't think so. And I think you know, there's been a big issue at City with the, you know, the club trying to convince the City fans that the Champions League is, you know, as important as the Premier League. And I think a lot of the City fans still prioritise the Premier League over European football. That being said, what I've seen recently from them kind of worries me in terms of, you know, 180 minutes against the top team, because it happened last year against Liverpool, and they just, when they're absolutely flying, something just happens and it just kills them. It just stops their momentum. That's what happened last year, and that's what's happened at the moment.
I think part of City's problem, Guardiola came out early on and said that this club is focused on the Champions League, and I just wondered if that kind of now offered the players a little bit of an excuse to lose focus, as we've seen. They've lost 3 in the last 4, and you don't expect that from City. Now, the bigger concern for me is you already have this gap between them and between City and Liverpool. Once the Champions League rolls around again, with your focus on that, can you claw back 6 points on Liverpool as they're playing now? You're asking for somebody to do for you first.
Stuart, we saw some rumours linking Max Allegri and Manchester United earlier today. Question here, would you see Allegri and Ronaldo leaving Juventus for United if Juventus win the Champions League this season? Can you see it?
Allegri's been a very good manager. He did well at Milan, and he took on a difficult job at Juventus. They'd won the title 3 years on the trot. Antonio Conte was the manager, and he played a certain system, and it wasn't Allegri's system. He came in and changed it bit by bit, and changes from a back three to a back four. I think he's done a very good job at Juventus, and I could see him doing a good job at Manchester United, given the opportunity. I'm not sure Ronaldo would go with him, though.
No. Let's leave Ronaldo out of it. Allegri? Is he a fit at Old Trafford?
I don't think he would be first choice by a long stretch. Not because he's a bad manager, I just think because he's clearly not. But I think they would go down other avenues, whether it be Pochettino and Zidane or whoever. But I don't know. I don't know why he would want to leave a country where he's been so successful. And let's be frank, you match up the Juve squad, including the subs and from 1 to 20, and you match up Man United, and maybe kind of off-putting a little bit.
I think Allegri is a fantastic manager. He'll do a great job wherever he goes. I only see him leaving Juventus if they win the Champions League. So regardless of, you know, United's interest and what choice he is, unless Juventus win the Champions League, I don't see him leaving.
Sticking with United and leaving, should they consider getting rid of Lukaku if he doesn't improve this year?
Well, not until you have a ready-made replacement, until you have somebody who can come in and score the goals that you need them to. But as of right now, you're not sure who that target is, whether they can attract that player or not. A lot will be determined by who the next manager is. But he is a proven goal scorer in the Premier League, just not maybe at the quality that United thought he was or expected him to be.
In the summer, yes.
Yeah,
and along with Alexis Sanchez, which is going to be a big problem for them, because they could recoup some money on a transfer fee for Alexis Sanchez because they got him for nothing, but then trying to convince anybody to pay an absolutely astronomical wage bill is going to be a problem, and it might end up with United still, if he does leave, with them still paying a big portion of his wages going forward, even when he's playing for a new club. That's the position that they've put themselves in, by paying this guy as much money as what they have, and also for anybody coming up for renewal is saying, well, listen, you're paying him X amount of money and he's hardly played a decent game, he's been on the bench or he's been unfit, and I'm in the first team every week, and you want to pay me, what, a third or a half of what he's getting? It's a big problem for Man United.
Yeah. Stuart?
I would certainly try and keep Lukaku and try and improve him. I think he's a player that can be improved if you work with him, put an arm around his shoulder. I think you can get the best out of him. Mourinho didn't do that in the last few months. I would still keep him. And I think you need, if you're going to want to challenge for the Champions League, you want to challenge for the Premier League, even if they go and get another forward, you need players that are going to come in and score goals. And Lukaku would do that even if he wasn't #1 choice.
All right, one for Craig. You'll enjoy this from the case. Should David Moyes be given another chance in the Premier League or the Scottish Premier League any time soon?
Well, listen,
He's not that old, is he, Mr. Moyes?
No, and I think what happens here, and excuse me, I think it's happened with Mark Hughes as well. I think managers, they're so desperate to get back in that like everybody in life, they make bad decisions. And you know, I think for David Moyes, taking the Sunderland job was a bad one. I think taking the job in Spain was a reaction. I think Mark Hughes himself is very similar. When he kept Southampton up, he should have walked away. But a manager always thinks he can take that team forward. So, you know, David Moyes he's not the flavour of everybody, you know, because of the way that he sets his team up. But he hasn't all of a sudden become a guy who managed for over a decade at Everton and did a particularly good job there. He hasn't all of a sudden become a terrible manager. Oh, and by the way, he did actually keep West Ham up, which was what he was brought in to do. But it won't be, you know, he might have to go back to the Championship to manage and rebuild his reputation. But whatever he does, he has to make the right decision for the right club. Otherwise, you know, he's drinking in the last chance saloon.
I think the challenge now with a number of clubs and for David Moyes is clubs are looking abroad for young managers who are going to get teams playing the kind of football that they want. And I think the league is now in a place where you don't have to be route one and physical as a newly promoted team to survive. You can go and play football. Teams have shown that and continue to show that this season. So it's a challenge to find who's a right fit for David Moyes at this point.
He had a decade of overachievement, really, at Everton, didn't he, Stuart? And that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, I thought he was a good manager. I first came across him when I was at Wimbledon. We played Preston, and he was a good manager at Preston. He got them into the playoffs with a very small budget. He then did a good job at Everton. I'll just counteract against Craig's argument about taking the right job. Alan Kirbishley kept on saying, this job isn't quite right for me, I want to wait for the next big one. This job's not quite right for me, I want to wait till the right one comes along. I think that he last managed in the Premier League about 12 years ago and his time has gone. Sometimes a manager who's failed has to take whatever job comes along just to get him back on track again.
Well, that is right, and because I actually worked with Alan Kirbishley before moving here, I worked for the Premier League's in-house channel with Alan. And he was in the frame for the Wolves job. This going back to around 2012, 2013. And he said to me, he was unsure. You know, he was stuck between a rock and a hard place, and he didn't know what to do. And he actually said to me, "What do you think?" I said, "Alan, you got to go with your gut." And he decided, as Robbo said, he decided not to take that up because he thought it was too much of a risk.
Right.
And he hasn't got back in. So it is difficult for managers. But if you do take the wrong job, and you've got a rotten chairman, you've got a rotten budget, and you've got a rotten squad, it's only going to end one way.
Some managers seem to be able to bounce back and get another job immediately, no matter what. Alan Pardew springs to mind, Sam Allardyce.
The retreads.
Yeah, well, but Moyes somehow doesn't seem to fit into that club.
Allardyce certainly is kind of, you're rooted to the bottom of the table and you know, you need somebody to keep you up. Allardyce is the go-to guy. But then if you're thinking long-term, Allardyce isn't everybody's cup of tea either. So he is a short-term fix. Now, again, to what you guys are saying is, does David Moyes see himself building a career as a short-term manager? Right. I'm not so sure that he does, or he should.
Listen, Big Sam can have June to January off every year now.
Yeah.
Semi-retirement, wait till a couple of clubs are struggling in the Premier League, and then parachute in, get a big bonus, keep them up, have another 6 or 7 months off, and repeat. Right. It's good work, isn't it?
Yeah, it is indeed. All right, finally for today, I'm not quite sure what to make of this question. Flashy says, what would it take to get a lip-sync battle between the FC personalities? Maybe there could be some friendly wagers that result in the losers doing a lip-sync. Fantasy soccer punishment, maybe?
What do you mean by a lip-sync battle?
Well, you know, I was hoping you were going to tell me, but...
I've seen that show once.
Yeah?
You kind of lip-sync to, well, clearly, to songs. But you dress up and you give it the whole production and Stevie. That is right up Stevie's street. Right up Stevie's street.
Win that competition hands down.
No problem.
We don't even need to run it.
Yeah. Nah.
Stuart?
Stevie won. Stevie won.
Stuart, I can see you doing a little London...
No, no, I can't really see myself. I might do a Sting or something like that. That's about all I could lip sync to. I can't see Craig doing it. I really can't.
Nah, horrible. I'm horrible.
I do a Bob Marley. Bob Marley's my go-to song for karaoke.
Nice. Just trying to British Stuart doing a little message in the bottle there.
Oh, goodness me.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that.
Listen, if we get the words in sync in this show, we're doing well. So let's not push it too far. You know, I mean, this is probably coming out on your TV at a different time to what I'm actually saying. It's not quite synced, right? So
it's a technical challenge at the best of times, isn't it? And on that high note, we will depart the scene.
Go back to the gym?
Yeah,
back to the gym.
I need some more time.
Get the old armbands on.
Another 10 minutes.
Sweatbands.
Another 10 minutes. That's what I got. I know you're back tomorrow, Craig.
I am. Never stops.
Stan wrapping up all the Saturday action. You can see that on ESPN Plus as well. It has come to this for the last time in 2018. It's time for the best of the week.
Let's start with Steve Nicol looking at Mr. Santa Claus. Beautiful, Stephen.
So you're not kidding.
But as always, Alejandro Moreno has brought it in style.
I'll give you the full look.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Hello.
Wow.
You know it, and you love it.
Please, Santa, can you send N'Golo Kante to PSG? Whatever it takes, Santa. Please make it happen.
How does the hat stay on, Ali?
Oh, he's got a big head.
Will you wear this on other occasions? Will it
What
make
kind of
other
question is that? How does he hat stay on?
I don't know, it's quite loose.
What has Craig done with all the lumps of coal he's received over the years?
Lumps of coal. Don't get it.
Well, we found the Grinch.
I've not heard of that.
That's it.
He's a Grinch.
Eh?
When did the Grinch come out? Christmas, thank you.
What are you talking about? It's not the Grinch, it's the elf.
It's Elf, not
It's
Grinch.
not the Grinch.
It even says Elf.
E-L-F.
When can see an
Grinch.
elf? Sugar cookie decoration tonight.
Oh, goodness.
Gingerbread house.
Wow.
It's a little disappointing when the kids are older. You know,
It feels like I got to give you a hug or something.
but when the three kids were all younger,
What is happening to your face?
you got stuff stuck there.
Little beard.
This is on purpose?
Yeah.
See ya, Jose! Jose! Merry Christmas! We'll see you later. Happy holidays. Take care.
Traditional Christmas Day basketball game, and then
Wahoo!
and then we go out
You're
to lunch.
playing basketball, Gab.
Yes, it's 3-on-3, so it's more fluid. But as you can imagine, I generally play in the post.
He would be dominating that post.
What about...
What is going on?
There are different cultural flosses that you can do. I
thought that was
the Scottish floss.
Where do you come from with that?
Scotland.
Gab, what does hod your waist mean?
I'm not
Hod
familiar
your
with that
waist.
term.
Keep your trap shut.
Read it in your best Scottish accent.
Your bum's out the window.
You from Newcastle?
What was that?
Your bum's out the window.
Ian, what did you get for Christmas? What was the top of your presents?
Somebody even brought me some highlight pens for my commentary card.
Oh, yeah. Sounds great, Ian.
Very massively.
She did have a nice Christmas. She prefers to give rather than receive.
Right, so...
So her wish was fulfilled. There you go.
I have a question, Dan.
Yes.
Why is your stocking smaller than everybody else?
Well,
Because I'm only little.
Well,
I've got... because,
Why is Ali
he's got little feet.
well, it's because I've got everything I need in life.
it's teeny tiny.
I'm working with you guys. I'm
Oh,
more than I want.
What a dream that is.
Hey?
Man.
Isn't it beautiful?
He's got everything he needs apart from
Everything.
Yeah.
Just missing a
Little
bit of height.
stockings.
He could buy some high heels.